Why don't I get some reaction now from my panel who've rejoined me. Catherine Haddon from the Institute for Government, the leader writer from the Daily Telegraph, Tim Stanley, and the former Labour Senior Adviser Ayesha Hazarika. Good to have you back with us. So we've got something to talk about now, haven't we? So 30 majority for Boris Johnson on our first one, which we've discussed. So let's discuss the fact that he then suffered a setback on the second vote.
Absolutely, and it was a bit bigger than some have been talking about. Could have been just 5 or something like that. And we've been hearing all day about what he might do. He might entirely sort of set aside the vote and actually push for a general election. Obviously, lots of speculation about, well, you could continue anyway. You could, and Jeremy Corbyn trying to say, let's look for a different timetable for this vote. Instead, what the Prime Minister has done is said, I'm going to take a pause, I'm going to see what the EU offer in terms of an extension, and then I might come back and say what was going to be the next steps.
Because interestingly, Tim, Ken Clarke was on his feet saying just 3 or 4 days would do it. Lots of MPs today have been saying we need weeks to look at this legislation, but Kenneth Clarke said, 3 or 4 days would actually do the trick. Do you think that's right?
A lot of viewers will be wondering, why doesn't the government just hit pause and wait a little bit longer? Well, 2 reasons. One, as we keep coming back to that political date of October the 31st, although that now seems impossible. So again, why not just hit pause? Well, it's the question of amendment. Let's say this gets really amended when it's being debated. Let's say they MPs start adding things like a customs union, or start shifting things that were moved into the political declaration back into the Dail agreement. The problem with that is that if this bill gets greatly amended by the House, first of all, the Prime Minister's got to take it back to the Europeans, who effectively got to reopen it and present it to them as a whole new thing. The other problem is that the votes that the Prime Minister picked up from Brexiteers by reopening and renegotiating the withdrawal agreement, by ending the backstop and the customs union element, those things would then be put back into it. So any Labour rebel votes that he might be able to nail down through this process will, on the other hand, you're going to lose loads of Brexiteers. You're going to lose loads of ERG people. So it's perfectly possible that if you have an extended legislative period in which you kick this bill around the House, you might come to the end of it and find you've actually lost that majority that he had for the second reading. So in other words, it's not just about the politics and the optics. There's also the government's thinking, we've got our deal, we've negotiated it, this is 95% the same as what Theresa May put to the House, so why won't the Commons just get on with it? And they're gambling politically that most people will be watching that and thinking, what has the Commons done tonight? Why do they want to delay this? If they're for it, why not just get it done?
What did you make, Ayesha, of Jeremy Corbyn's response and the offer? Lots of MPs make offers in this way because they want to appear to be constructive and collaborative and all the rest of it. But what did you make of the response that he made, which was to say, look, why can't we discuss a more sensible timetable to all of this?
Well, I think that's quite smart politics for Jeremy Corbyn. His line, remember, is he doesn't want to deny people Brexit. He's saying that let's have the right scrutiny. And interestingly, the whips from the Labour Party wrote to the whips from the Conservative Party this afternoon saying, look, is there a deal to be done in terms of a wee bit more time? Because remember, this is critical. This is a bill which is going to affect not just us, but our children, our grandchildren. And again, where I slightly disagree with Tim, it's not just the backstop and the issue of the customs union. What a lot of Labour MPs are very exercised about is workers' rights. That was moved from the withdrawal agreement to the political declaration. The political declaration is a statement of intent. A lot of people don't trust Boris Johnson. If you look at how the DUP were treated this week, you can see why. So perhaps if Boris Johnson was prepared to move those workers' rights back to the withdrawal agreement, and remember, that was in the deal that Theresa May negotiated, so the EU would probably be happy with that. Maybe he could get some of those Labour MPs to really solidify. But it doesn't seem ignoble for parliamentarians to just ask for a bit more time to scrutinise this. Remember, the Prime Minister's own legislative adviser is on the record as saying a bill of this magnitude needs about 4 weeks of scrutiny.
That was Nicky Costa,
And this is all about parliamentary sovereignty and taking back control.